Yo, what is up guys, Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So, this video, if you will, is a heavyweight news roundup. Over the last few days, some interesting news in regards to the heavyweight division has been revealed, and I wanted to discuss a few of those stories. I would like to apologise as well for the lack of content recently. Honestly, I've just been super busy, it is what it is. But we'll start with Pulev versus Derek Chisora 2. This fight has been formally announced, and it goes down on the 9th of July, and it takes place at the O2 Arena in London. Of course, this is a rematch of their 2016 fight, in which Pulev won by split decision. Now, I have to say, going into this rematch, I'm not really all that excited. To me, this fight really came out of left field. For a while, it seemed like Adam Kownacki was the frontrunner to fight Derek Chisora, and I think that would have been a really good fight, a really fan-friendly fight, a fight in which I would look forward to. However, the Kownacki fight fell through, and they drafted in Pulev for their rematch. Now, you know, there's going to be a lot of salesmanship in regards to this fight. Let's talk about that first fight from 2016 to start with. In regards to that first fight, of course, officially, it was a split decision. However, if you actually watched that fight at the time and you have a pair of working eyes, there was only one winner in that fight, and Pulev clearly won that fight. I would say 8 rounds to 4-ish, something along those lines. The split decision was very fortunate on Derek Chisora's behalf, and on top of that, that first fight really wasn't anything special. There was a lot of jabbing and grabbing from Pulev. Chisora's gas tank didn't really hold up as the fight went on. It wasn't the greatest fight, it was somewhat messy, you know. And yeah, I mean, the first fight was decisive. Pulev clearly won. It wasn't a great fight, so naturally, going into this rematch, I'm not all that excited. Of course, the circumstances have now changed. Both guys these days are past their best. They are not what they were a few years ago, and maybe that evens things up a little bit. Maybe that will make things a better fight. That is certainly possible. But given the styles of both men, I wouldn't be surprised if this one is a dull affair once again. Chisora, I think, will be dangerous early on in the first 3 or 4 rounds, but after that he tends to gas out, as we saw in the Alexander Usyk fight, the second Joseph Parker fight, etc. I think, I personally believe Chisora probably has to get this done early, whereas if it goes to points, I would favour Pulev once again. And, you know, Pulev actually going into this fight is somewhat active. He actually fought in May against Jerry Forrest, and this fight takes place on the 9th of July. So Pulev is nice and active going into this fight, whereas Derek Chisora last fought in December of 2021. So that is a potential advantage for Pulev going into this fight. I will certainly watch it if I'm available, if I'm not doing anything, but it's not one of those fights in which I would alter my plans for, put it that way. And more news in the heavyweight division. Of course, Joseph Parker, top 10 contender, former WBO heavyweight champion. We were expecting him to be fighting Joyce sometime soon. Of course, Frank Warren even announced that on the undercard of Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte. He had the two guys face off, and he basically said that the fight was as good as done. However, Joseph Parker pulled out, citing that his trainer, Andy Lee, his wife was having a baby, so he couldn't train. And here we are a few weeks later. It has turned out that Joseph Parker has signed an exclusive contract with Ben Shalom, Boxer, and Sky Sports. So I'm assuming now that the Joseph Parker fight is dead in the water. Ben Shalom, Joseph Parker's new promoter, has said that he would be willing to make an offer to Joyce's team to have that fight on Sky Sports, though I would imagine that is somewhat unrealistic. I couldn't see Frank Warren letting Joyce go to Sky to fight Joseph Parker. I can't really see that happening, quite frankly. And yeah, I mean, I just can't see Parker and Joyce happening at all now, which in my opinion is a great shame. I felt that fight was really intriguing. Joseph Parker and Joyce at this point are top 10 heavyweights. Both guys are highly ranked within the WBO, And yeah, I mean, ultimately, it would have been Joe Joyce's hardest opponent, and that fight, in my opinion, made a hell of a lot of sense, but I'm not holding out any hope that we get that fight. I'm actually quite surprised that Sky Sports would sign Joseph Parker. I can't really imagine what they're going to do with him. Who have Sky Sports got in terms of heavyweights? They've got Fraser Clark, who is just turning pro now. Hughie Fury. I mean, who wants to see a Hughie Fury versus Joseph Parker rematch? Not me. Shades of Ali and all that. I mean, the whole Sky Sports move for Joseph Parker, in my opinion, doesn't really make much sense, quite frankly. And honestly, it's looking like a bit of a duck from Joseph Parker. You know, he pulled out due to a very suspicious circumstance first time around against Joe Joyce, you know, citing that his trainer's wife is giving birth, so he can't train me. That to me sounds a little bit weird. And then after that, he signs a deal with Sky Sports. To me, it seems like a bit of a duck from Joseph Parker. Hopefully we see Joe Joyce back in action. He's supposed to be back out, I believe, in July, according to Frank Warren. We'll see who he fights, but, you know, ever since that Daniel Dubois win, Joe Joyce has struggled to get any real momentum in his career, which is a shame because he's such a fun fighter to watch. And he's very dangerous and very effective, let's get it right. So, yeah, hopefully we see Joe Joyce return to the ring soon against a solid opponent. In fact, my timing making this video is perfect. It's just been announced that Joe Joyce will fight on July the 2nd, and his opponent will be heavyweight trial horse Christian Hammer. I mean, it's pretty disappointing, let's be honest, but Joe Joyce is stuck between a rock and a hard place because he's a very good and dangerous heavyweight, but he doesn't really draw. He's not really a fan favourite, so, you know, he's going to find it hard to get these fights, man. It's just that simple. But yeah, Joe Joyce versus Christian Hammer, July 2nd, that has been confirmed. And lastly, over the last few days, it's been confirmed that Anthony Joshua has signed a broadcaster deal with DAZN. Of course, his future was up in the air. There were talks whether he would remain on Sky Box Office or move over to DAZN. Well, it's been confirmed Anthony Joshua is now a DAZN fighter. It's a long-term deal, which could be worth upwards of £100 million. So big money right there. And, you know, it's the sort of signing that DAZN needed to make, especially in the UK, because quite frankly, ever since Matchroom have moved to DAZN, it's been a little lackluster at times, in my opinion at least. There doesn't seem to be the same amount of hype on these DAZN shows as there was on Sky Sports. But, you know, signing somebody like Anthony Joshua is going to attract more eyes to that platform. So, you know, potentially it is a good signing for DAZN. However, if Anthony Joshua were to lose against Alexander Usyk again, you know, maybe that deal looks a little more suspect. We shall see how that plays out. And in fact, we are still waiting on confirmation on Alexander Usyk versus Anthony Joshua 2. Most sources are saying it goes down sort of 20th of August, but we shall see. We're still waiting on an official confirmation. Hopefully that rematch happens soon because it's dragged out far too long now. Of course, that first fight took place in September of 2021, and more than likely this rematch will take place in August of 2022. So nearly a full year has passed since these guys first fought. That is far too long. I know Alexander Usyk has had his problems outside the ring with what is going on in the world, and on top of that, Joshua's been, you know, deciding who he commits his long-term future to in terms of broadcasters, and obviously, as well as that, adding guys to his training team. So both guys have had a lot on outside the ring, but hopefully now we can get this fight signed. Anyway, share your thoughts below. It's been your guy Delboy. Peace.